Good evening, everybody! Welcome to round 14 of International Sim Racing Organization's 1986 F1 campaign, coming to you from Estoril, outside of Lisbon. Cars are in their warm-up session, and if I'm not mistaken, we have two low tie on the front row with Tim Hilla on pole. And I'm joined in the booth by Ryan Walker. Ryan, good evening.
Good evening, Jason. Good evening, everyone.
So, this is the 14th round out of 16 in the championship, and there is the slim chance that we may actually crown a champion tonight. And what an interesting situation that would be, Ryan, if it were Richard Wilkes winning the championship in his home Grand Prix.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a surprise, but also on the other hand, it would be great to see, and I think it's probably something that Richard is aiming for tonight. But also, Israel, it's one of those tracks that can provide some surprises, and I think we could be in for a few surprises in this race tonight.
Yeah, looking at the points chart right now, I want to thank Juha Boss, first of all, for giving us some particulars on the points situation right now, because there is the detail of dropped scores to consider here. So with 3 races to go, dropped scores finally come into effect. The best 11 results count for the Drivers' Championship, and only Richard Wilkes and Juha Boss have scored 11 times. No one else has scored more than 8 times, meaning that Wilkes and Juha will be the only ones dropping scores should they score in the final 3 races. Everyone else will keep whatever score they have. So this is very complicated stuff, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that we understand what's happening. But here's basically the byline, or not the byline, but here's the bottom line for this particular race today. Wilkes can win the championship if he wins and Gabriel does not score points. So that's something to keep in mind. Anything less than a win leaves the series undecided, even with a DNF for Gabriel. So we'll keep that in mind as we get towards the end of the race. The point situation as of now. Richard Wilkes is in front with 54 points. Gabriel Del Piccolo is in second with 43. Juha Boss is in third with 40 points. And then it's a tie for 4th place between Grant Riddall and Anders Nilsson with 34 points apiece. In the Constructors' Championship, JPS Team Lotus is in first with 72 points. Benetton Formula is in second with 64 points. Scuderia Ferrari is in third with 50 points. Marlboro McLaren International is in fourth with 46 points. And Equipe Ligier is in fifth with 39 points. The track itself, we talked about it briefly. This is Estoril. Prior to the modification of 1994, so it's without the chicane on the back there. 70 laps around this course, built on rocky terrain near Lisbon. An interesting course, Ryan, because you need high speed, but you also need good cornering speed as well.
Yeah, that's the thing with Estoril as well. It's one of those tracks that you kind of get tempted to go with low downforce for the straights, but also you need some downforce for the medium speed corners and high speed corners. So it's kind of, in a way, it makes getting a setup right for this track, but it makes it also a great challenge as well.
Yeah, this is a circuit that I'm sorry that it doesn't race in F1 anymore. I mean, there is a Portuguese Grand Prix, but it's not raced in Estoril. But I've always thought this circuit was a lot of fun. The combination, as you talked about, of high speed and then having the track curving back and forth behind it, it does create a conundrum when you're setting up the car. That's for sure. So the cars are in the warm-up session, as we mentioned. This will be an interesting start for sure, because everybody wants to sprint for that first corner. And last thing you want to do is to have a situation where you throw the race away on turn 1. But I definitely think... Oh, here's Alberto. Alberto has joined us now in the booth. How are you, Alberto?
Hey, thank you. I'm fine, okay. Thank you.
So,
Sorry for arriving a bit late.
No, that's okay. So we were talking about Estoril and its merits as a track. High speed versus the curving back and forth sections behind the track. Setting up for this race must be a real challenge. You would agree?
Oh, certainly. This is a track where choosing the tire is going to be absolutely paramount. Fuel consumption probably also, because it's a high-speed track. But the tire temperature is going to play a big role here. The high-speed turns are going to be a beater on the tires, and the drivers are going to choose having to choose very carefully, because if they make the wrong choice, they are going to pay dearly for it. So we will see something very interesting in the pit stops here. And it's, if any driver has done the wrong choice, he's going to regret it, and he's going to switch to something very different.
Yeah, on the subject of the tires, I mean, one thing that we mention every week is that, or every time we race this series, is that a tire can go the distance no matter which one it is, which always sounds confusing. But the good news is Richard Coxon has basically prepared a little cheat sheet for me that explains why he says that every tire can complete the full distance. What he's essentially saying is that there's no situation of a tire that cannot go the full distance, meaning it will never blow up or puncture any of those things. But the key thing is not the amount of wear, it's temperature, right?
It is, yes. Something very important here is to keep the temperature windows in check. So that means that every tire temperature windows has a set of temperature ranges where it works well. So if you are outside that part, then you certainly are going to have trouble. If you are on a hard tire and you are on very, very slow speed corners where you're not really pushing it hard, then you're going to have problems because you're not going to have the tire the temperature that it deserves. If you're at the high speed corner like we're seeing here at Estoril, then you certainly need tires that are hard, because it takes a beating. It takes a lot of beating for the tires to go through those corners. So the temperature windows are very important, because if you are unable to keep them in the temperature window, then you're going to suffer, because the tires are not going to give you the grip that they really have. So as you say, and Richard Coxon explained, any tire is able to give you the whole range of the race. Any tire can go the distance, but whether it can go quick or it will be dead slow in the corners, that's a very different matter. You need to check and be able to choose the tire that is really the one that is performing well at every track.
The other thing to keep in mind, and Richard pointed this out in what he wrote, is when people go to change the tires, it's not necessarily because of wear, it's just because fresher tires are that much quicker. So that's what we see when people are making pit stops. It's not that the tires are ready to come apart, it's that fresher tires are that much quicker, and it makes sense to take that pit stop in the few seconds that you're in pit, so you can make up for in the track and the faster tires that you have.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, people know that the tires are going to play a role here, but they are not really aware of how much of a difference the fresh tires are making. The fresh tires are making a difference of up to 1.5 seconds a lap. That's very important. I mean, that is really a lot. If you are using the wrong tire, and if you are or if you are keeping it for too long, then you are basically giving away a lot of time. Fresh tires are going to give you that extra time that you really need. And we are going to see here, same as we see in modern Formula One today, a bit of an undercut. I mean, if the driver is seeing that the car in front is able to go quick, but not as quick as one would expect, he might be able to actually take a strategic decision and pit before the other driver, and thus undercut him and be able to come out of the pits and go that much quicker for at least 1 or 2 laps. and be in front. That depends on the difference, on the distance of the car in front. And if the driver is able to make it and do the pass like that, then the other driver, when he comes out of the pits, he might be equally as quick. But that doesn't mean that he's able to overtake, because as we have seen and we have said many times this season, one thing is coming there, and a very different one is being able to overtake.
Yeah, I'd say that's expert analysis there. The pit stops then are going to be very critical here, because once people pit, there'll be the opportunity, like you say, for the undercut. And definitely, I would say, if you were picking tires for this race, I'd say hards probably is the right compound to choose.
I would be surprised if someone picks something different than hards here. Hards, that's the thing that you really need for the outside of the big turns here, which are the left turns here. But whether someone goes with something that is softer, I don't know. We will have to see. It's a risk. It's a risk. If someone is really expert in driving, if someone can really keep the temperatures in check, then he can make something out of it. He can do very well in the slow corners, but it's something that is really a gamble here.
Would you agree with that, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some drivers might try and use the hard tires and go as long as possible. Or maybe some other drivers as well might try and mix it up a little bit. Maybe just do something different and see if it pays off. I wouldn't be surprised if you see someone trying to use the soft tires and trying to make them go the whole race without stopping. But I'll be interested to see what these drivers do with the strategy or with the tire compounds.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting point here. If someone is really willing to make a gamble, then soft tires, maybe mediums, is going to be an option here. And remember, we have here Richard Wilkes and Gabriele Del Piccolo fighting for the championship. We should be talking about the dropped scores very soon. And for these two, now it becomes really a poker game, because each of them has chances, each of them has the opportunity to actually score points here, but the tire game is going to be very important here, because finishing behind the other guy, the one who is in the championship run, is really going to be paramount.
Yeah, we're looking at the point situation here. We mentioned before that the basic piece of information that is helpful here, because it is a complicated situation with the dropped scores, but essentially Wilkes can win the championship if if he wins the race and Gabriel does not score. That's essentially what could happen here this evening. Anything less than a win will leave the series undecided, even with a DNF for Gabriel.
Yeah, and look at that. I mean, they are fighting for the pole here. And this is not just a game fighting for the pole, just like a, I don't know, like a who is quicker contest. No. They are absolutely trying to pull here a trick on the other guy, to tell him, look, I'm quicker than you. I mean, you don't have chances for the championship. Give up. That's the psychological game that is really playing out here. Look at Gabriele now, really on track, 3 minutes from the end, and he's there trying to get the pole on Richard Wilkes.
Well,
in his home race.
Well, keep in mind that this is the warm-up session, so the pole has already been won at this point. If I'm right, it's been won by Tim Hille, and then Richard Wilkes is on the outside of the front row. So,
yeah, sorry. But anyway, I mean, they are trying to tell each other here that they are the quickest guy in the race session. They are absolutely trying to play mind tricks on each other.
Well, with 2 minutes 50 seconds to go to the start of the race, predictions probably would be a good thing to talk about now. Gentlemen, we'll start with Ryan.
What was the question? Sorry, I had to
no, that's right. Predictions of who's going to win this race.
I don't know. I don't know, because SRO, it's so hard to predict, just because everyone's so close on pace from what I can see in the warm-up. But prediction to win the race, I'm going to I'm going to go for Anders Nielsen.
All right. What about you, Alberto? Whoa! As K.O. McKeel's writes off a minority.
I think it's going to be hard to get to bet against Gabriele Del Piccolo now, but I'm going to bet for the local favorite, which is Richard Wilkes.
Yeah, I'm going to bet for Richard Wilkes too. I think he's going to be really keen to close out try to close out the championship today. Although I know that Gabriel is going to do his best to make sure that can't happen. But the whole dropped score thing is a bit it messes with my head here and there. So I'm glad.
It messes everyone's head, but
Yeah.
whatever the case, I think that Gabriel has something very clear in his mind. He needs to win. He absolutely needs to win. He needs to score more points than Richard Wilkes. So that's going to be interesting in that regard today.
Let's see. Items we can mention before we go to the race session coming up next week. It's the last jewel of the Triple Crown for USAC cars. It's the California 500, Sunday, October 10th, green flag at 2000 CEST. That one probably is going to be a huge, not probably, I think it definitely will have a huge hand in deciding the championship for USAC. Trivia question for this race. Who won the last Portuguese Grand Prix to be held at Estoril on September 22nd, 1996? Was it A, Damon Hill, B, Jacques Villeneuve, or C, David Coulthard? We'll have the answer later for you in the broadcast. All right, so 20 seconds to go here before we kick off this Portuguese Grand Prix. It's worth mentioning that Richard Wilkes has not had the best starts in this series, even though he is the championship favorite. So it's going to be critical for him to get off the line, if not ahead of his teammate, then right behind him.
Yeah, that's very true. He has had some really eye-watering starts in the last races. That's a shame, because being in the championship lead and being there contesting for it, when you are actually doing a bad start, you are really facing an uphill climb. It's a really big problem for you to make up for that later in the race, because Formula One, as of today, but also back in the 80s, it was something very much in the game of starting first and going there in the lead. So for Richard Wilkes, that's been a big struggle. We are going to look forward to see what he is able to do this time.
All right, so here we go to the race session now. 70 laps on the board on a very difficult circuit. Yep, Tim Hilla on the pole and Richard Wilkes in second, so it's a JPS front row lockout, excuse me. Here they are coming onto the grid now. And we got this long shot here of the front straightaway, which should provide a foreshortened view, but it should give us a good idea of what's happening here as the cars come down towards the first turn.
Beautiful camera work by Brian Janik, as usual.
Yes. Yeah, Janik is our camera expert. And
he really has an eye for that. I mean, he has seen a lot of footage on the classic races, and he really knows how to capture that ambience that is so important here in these races.
All right, so on the pole, Tim Hilla, John Player Special, Team Lotus. In second, Richard Wilkes, championship leader, John Player Special, Team Lotus. In third, John Team, Data General, Team Tyrrell. Fourth, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Benetton Formula. So Gabriel's right there in the second row. Brian Janik, we just mentioned him a second ago, camera expert and also driver, is fifth for Motor Racing Development. Sixth is Ray Radal, Equipe Ligier. Seventh, Anders Nilsson, Scuderia Ferrari. Eighth, David Saber, Data General, Team Tyrrell. Ninth, Juha Boss, Marlboro McLaren International. 10th, Bruno Paggiola, Cannon Williams Honda team. 11th, Richard Coxon, Scuderia Ferrari. 12th, Jules Bouchard, Team Haas USA. 13th, and in a special livery this evening, is Bruno Chacon, Marlboro McLaren International. 14th, Ruben Fernandez, West Zach Speed Racing. 15th, Adam Hackman, Cannon Williams Honda team. 16th, Mike Olson, Team Haas USA. 17th, Bill Worrell, Benetton Formula. 18th, Francois Remen, Barclay Arrows BMW. 19th, K.O. McKeel's Minardi team. 20th, Alan Santo, Barclay Arrows BMW. 21st, Oscar Team, Jolly Club AGS. 22nd, Francisco Amaral, Ocella Squadra Course. 23rd, Luciano Rocha, Motor Racing Developments. 24th, Rodrigo Nascimento for West Zach Speed. 25th, Simon Watman in the other Ocella. 26th, Mikael Drexler from Minardi. And that is your grid. 26 cars. You'll notice I did not mention Grant Radal, who I believe is not racing tonight. Is that true, Ryan?
Yeah, unfortunately, Grant had to pull out because his router they gave up, unfortunately. So it was hard luck for him because he is one of the championship contenders, and I think not taking part has pretty much put a big dent in his chances.
Pretty much, yeah. I would say that's definitely true. All right, so the cars are coming to the line now.
Tim Hille waving out now.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be obviously very nervous about this, because when you're starting on the pole, it's always a responsibility and it's always a danger, because you have everything to lose here. You are the first, so anyone that goes by is going to pull a trick on you.
Yep. All right, so there's the flicker of the... okay, here we go. Stand by for the start of the Portuguese Grand Prix. And the race is underway. Tim Hille gets away very well, and so does Richard Wilkes. Look at that. Excellent start. Is Wilkes going to go by on the outside? He's trying for it. Hille stays on the inside. They're still side by side. But there goes Wilkes into the lead. Wilkes leads.
Very good move by Wilkes. Also very clever, not just by overtaking his own teammate, but also by placing him between Del Piccolo and him.
Yep. So Wilkes leads. Hille is in second.
This has been a really good start from Richard Wilkes.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, it couldn't have been planned better. He had a little bit of difficulty getting around Tim Hille there, but now he is solidly in front. Tim Hille is in second. Del Piccolo third. John Team in fourth. Anders Nilsson in fifth. Brian Janik sixth. Ray Radal seventh. Richard Coxon eighth. David Saber ninth. And Jules Bouchard rounds out the top 10 as we tour around on lap 1.
And if there was any question about Richard Wilkes' ability to start quickly, his ability to not crack under pressure, or his commitment to his home track, I think
it's been answered.
It's been answered by now. It's also fair to say that Del Piccolo now has the thinking mind of the calculator. I mean, he absolutely knows that he has a very quick car. He's very much in form, in shape, and he knows that down in the race he can really overtake Tim Hille and maybe even Richard Wilkes. So for now he's not aggressive. He's happy to stay there behind Tim Hille as long as Richard Wilkes is not disappearing into the distance. And I would be very, very surprised if later down the race we don't see him there going for the lead.
Well, riding on board with Gabriel now, and he's holding station behind the two Lotai. And yeah, this is definitely what we expected to see. The two title contenders here right up towards the front. And Hille, who has had some excellent drives during the series, but just hasn't been able to capitalize on it. Had some bad luck in a lot of races. Maybe today...
It seems that Bill Worrell is out of the race already.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure. Oops. It seems that there is the number 31, which is the AGS, and also Bill Worrell on the stunt gravel trap, as I'm seeing. That's very unfortunate. That's Oscar Team in the AGS. But well, there is Richard Wilkes in the lead. He's opening a gap now.
Oh yeah, there's Oscar Team, who's off the track, unfortunately. So that looks like another retirement it is.
And this is very interesting to see, because we all know that the Renault engines, they are very thirsty, because the cars where they are actually built into, they are very, very draggy cars. So they have a lot of drag. They do use a lot of fuel. And that's the interesting part. I mean, normally we don't see the Renault engine cars trying to go for the lead, except in the case of Grant Bridal, who we all know how he absolutely wants to be in the lead. But generally speaking, the Renault cars are not willing to take the lead and like go there on the front in all the race and all that. No. They want to basically save the fuel. And then once they are sure that they can make the most of it, they are going to crank up the boost and make the most of it in the race. But here, in this case, it's Richard Wilkes actually going away in the lead.
Another driver that's worth watching in this race is John Team, who's currently running fourth for Tyrrell. He is a full-time driver for Tyrrell now, is he not?
He is, yes. And also with a Renault engine car. He is now under the attack of Anders Nilsson, who is there in a discreet fifth position. But he really is not that far away from John Team. That's the way that drivers are putting the pressure on the guy in front. I mean, even if they are not really crawling all over the rear wing, they are actually putting pressure.
Richard Coxon just overtaking Brian Janik now for 6th place, so Coxon's on the move. Interesting to see if Ferrari could play a spoiler in this race.
And
Nilsson
never
5th.
forget Juha Bosch, who is in 8th now with the McLaren, but we all know that this is a car that has very good legs, that is very good on fuel, and that could give us really a surprise towards the end of the race.
Yeah, potentially.
It would not certainly be the first time.
So now Nilsson is sizing up John Team here. We'll see if he can use that Ferrari horsepower to his advantage.
So Wilkes and Tim up there in the lead, but not really opening a big gap. I'm starting to believe that Wilkes really had not planned for this. We have talked about the thirsty Renault engine before, and I believe that Wilkes was somehow expecting that someone would be up there in the front trying to overtake him, or maybe even taking the lead, while he would be basically cruising back while waiting for his opportunity to crank the boost up once he's sure about the fuel consumption. But it's very interesting, because he's finding himself in the lead, and I would bet that he was not expecting that.
Well, one horsepower figure that we should keep in mind, provided obviously by Richard Coxon, is that the Tyrrell team actually has a bump of 20 horsepower in this race. So that's something that Coxon is having to deal with here, is a slightly faster Tyrrell Renault in front of him here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Did very well this season.
I'm sorry. That's Nilsson who's behind him. But same difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ferrari's very fast, but 942 horsepower is the Ferrari, so that means it's just 2 horsepower more than the Tyrrell at this point.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you get in Formula One. I mean, this is constant evolution. I mean, unlike what you see in other series, here the teams, the sponsors, everybody is pushing for getting results, for absolutely getting the most of the engines, of the chassis, of the driver, of everything. I mean, the pressure, if you are not up for the pressure, then Formula One is certainly not your place.
No.
And here, that was actually the case in 86 also, where they were constantly evolving the engines. So from one race to the other, you could count with that 20 horsepower difference that you were just mentioning. The Tyrrell team was actually the second team for the Renault engine. The first team is the Lotus engine ones, the Lotus team with the Renault engine, sorry. So they were catching up. by this time in the season very quickly. And for the Tyrrells, this is certainly not an unsubstantial gain. I mean, the Ferraris were going backwards in the season at this point, whereas the Tyrrells were going upwards, same as the Benetton. So that accounts for the difficulties that Anders is having now overtaking.
A little bit of dust there from John Team as he uses every inch of the course, but yeah, definitely Nilsson's having a tough time at least getting close enough to make an attempt. Have to keep an eye on this as the race evolves. Yep, there's the aforementioned Juha Boss soldiering on an 8th place. He's had a lot of drives this year, Ryan, where he comes from behind and the race kind of comes into his hands. I think it's fair to say he's going to be in the points before this race is over.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those drivers that this season, there's been times that he's just been having a quiet race, and you never really talk about him. And then towards the end of the race, he's right up there, and you're like, oh, you have boss, where'd the tea come from? And he's one of those, he's kind of like a Rick Mears in a way. Quiet race at the start, and then towards the end, he's right up there.
I think Juha will appreciate being compared to Rick Mears.
Well, that's actually, I would say, more even an Al Unser performance, Al Unser Senior, because he was the expert on being nowhere, and then all of a sudden, in the last third of the race, you would say, what is this guy doing there in the lead or even in the top 2, no?
And the best battle on the circuit right now, at least as far as I can see, is Nilsson and Team. But they're right there next to each other, and Nilsson is giving Team no rest at all. Definitely trying to force him into making some kind of a mistake.
Yeah, I think that's the sensible thing to do if you don't have the legs to overtake in the straight.
Riding on board now as they come out of the final turn. Was a
Ryan, you are a touring car expert. You know what it is like to be on a car that has a very same performance.
Oh, Nilsson making an attempt there. Sorry, but go ahead, Ryan. Answer Alberto's question.
The Super Touros I've always loved racing in, and I think if you're, from my experience, if you're stuck behind someone that you know you're quicker than, but you can't get by, it's probably best just to sit there, just play a waiting game, and just if an opportunity arises, if someone makes a mistake and you get a run in them, then you take the opportunity and try and make a move. But at the moment, it appears that maybe Anders is just happy to sit behind John at the moment and just maybe do a little bit of fuel saving as well.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to be there behind a car that you know you are quicker, but you cannot get by. It's something that really eats you, so to speak. So we will see, because this is, in the end, when it becomes like that, it's a mind game. So it's a matter of who is stronger. I mean, people usually think of Formula One, of car races as, oh no, you are quicker than the other guy and all that, but I mean, it's really a game of being mentally stronger than the guy in front.
Well, definitely, there was a situation where now Team has got a huge lead compared to Nilsson. I'm not. I was looking away from the monitor there, didn't quite see what happened, but.
But that's something that can easily happen if you are able to, like, out-accelerate him, the car behind, on any corner or anything like that. But look at that. I mean, Nilsson is already on his tail. Nilsson is clearly quicker, but it's exactly the situation that we were just describing some moments ago. I mean, you are quicker than the guy in front, but not quick enough to overtake. So you're running out of options, especially if the guy in front is really regular. Because imagine for a moment that you are under Nilsson. You're seeing a guy like that in front. You know you're quicker, you cannot overtake, but this is a guy that doesn't make any error. Picture yourself doing this for 70 laps. I mean, being behind him and not being able to force him into an error is absolutely a nightmare. So at some point, one of both is going to crack under pressure. It's going to be either John Tim, who with a lap car or on any situation is going to make an error, or it's going to be Nilsson, and it's going to basically throw him very much far back, so without any opportunities to pass. But whatever the case, they are playing mind games now.
Yep, absolutely, no question about it. Mind games are definitely part of this series. So the situation up front is the same. Richard Wilkes has been leading for 9 laps, and he has a 4.2 second lead over his teammate and pole sitter, Tim Hille. Third, not too far behind, is Gabriel Del Piccolo. I know we mentioned at the top of the show that if Wilkes wins and Gabriel doesn't score, the championship is his, but quite frankly, I don't think that's something that's likely to happen. Del Piccolo is on a real hot streak. He's won the last 3 races and really has come into his own with this car. In fact, now he's getting closer to Gabriel, or sorry, he's getting closer to Tim Hille now. So we'll have to have we'll have to keep one eye fixated on this battle here that might happen.
No,
in
and
the
I
next
think
few laps.
one of the most important things to highlight here is that against the archetype of the hot Italian Latin driver, Gabriele is driving here with a very cool head. I mean, he didn't get into any trouble in the start. He's absolutely doing his homework here. He's behind Tim Hille, but he's in no rush to overtake. He knows that at some point that second place might fall into his clutches, and that even if Wilkes is leading, well, anything can happen later down the race, and there are many more races to go. So I'm absolutely delighted to see Del Piccolo doing this kind of drive, because it's really amazing. I mean, it's quality driving here.
Yeah, he certainly would qualify for Driver of the Year in this series. Maybe not, even if he doesn't win the championship. I think it's amazing how he's come on so late in the series and given us such fantastic performances. And I've mentioned this in previous broadcasts, but I would mention it again. It's very rare that you see a driver and a car gel quite as well as you're seeing right now. And look at this. He's right with Tim Hille now, and looks like he might have... he almost got boxed in there by Nascimento, I believe, was on the inside. So if it hadn't been for that awkward placement of his car, we may have seen a change for position there.
Certainly, although I must say this was a very good move by Nascimento. No surprises for the car that were lapping him, and everything panned out very quickly and very swiftly.
Yeah, but look at that. He's already Del Piccolo's right back up with Hille again, so he's going to take another stab at it here in a second. And there's some more lap cars in front of them here. Minardi, didn't quite catch who that was, but
Drexler, I think.
No, Drexler. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I think that the Piccolo is realizing that they are coming to lap traffic, so it's as good as an opportunity as any other to make a move on Tim Hille. But again, as I was saying, I think this speaks a lot about the maturity of Del Piccolo as a driver. He was not taking any risk, doing any stupid thing when he was on his own with Tim Hille. He was.
Oh my goodness! Whoa, that was rather scary. There was Drexler missing his braking zone. That could have been a problem for our second and third place cars.
Yep. So again, Del Piccolo is just following Hille and waiting on the error that he could be making. But in any case, like I said, very mature performance. Del Piccolo, I mean, look, Wilkes is leading the championship, so for Gabriele Del Piccolo, the ideal situation would be to be on the front. But there he is, I mean, soldering on, doing a very good job of keeping the cool head behind Tim Hille. And I think this is really commendable because he has a very quick car. It could be like going there into the distance, trying to catch up with Richard Wilkes or whatever, and no, instead he's having a lot of patience there being behind Tim Hille, because by now, I should highlight that Wilkes is nearly 4 seconds into the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So Del Piccolo, in that regard, could be getting antsy, could be getting anxious, impatient behind Tim Hille, but he's not doing that at all. He's having a long thinking mind here, and he's just basically holding on behind Tim Hille and waiting for his opportunity.
Meanwhile, the situation with John Thiem and Anders Nilsson is basically the same. Nilsson still shadowing. It's actually a very similar to what we just saw with Del Piccolo and Hille, weaving their way through lapped cars, and the fight being interrupted briefly and then rejoined.
Well, if we were talking with Del Piccolo about a very clever thinking driver, I think that Anderson is also a very good example of that. I mean, he's there right behind John Thiem, but also waiting for his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
He knows very well that the Ferrari doesn't have the legs at the moment to really overtake on sheer force, but he's putting pressure on John.
Whoa! He just had a bit of a moment there coming out of turn one. That could have been a problem on the curbs there.
Yeah, those curbs are dangerous here.
Yep. Thankfully, he's okay. Del Piccolo still shadowing Tim Hille. Oh, look at this. Nilsson might have a shot here in the next corner. Right behind John Thiem. He pulls out. Has a look, but no, John's got the corner. That may have been a little bit closer in that shot than it appeared. Or, sorry, the other way around. It may have looked closer than it actually was because of the foreshortened nature of the shot.
There was also a yellow flag in this sector
Oh, that's
moment
true.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Anders should refrain from overtaking. But now it's green flag all around, so...
Down the long straightaway one more time. And you can see Nilsson trying to get every advantage from the slipstream, but that Tyrrell definitely quick in a straight line.
Yeah, this is quick enough to hold its own on that long straight, because this is the paramount passing point in this venue. So if you're not able to have the legs to be there following the other car in the previous corner and be able to make the pass on the straight.
Slightly wide exit there by Thiem. Left the door open just briefly for Nilsson, but Nilsson was not able to capitalize. Go ahead, Alberto.
No, again, very frustrating thing because John Thiem nearly showed him the way to make it through, but closed the door quick enough. So that's one of those things that is so frustrating when you're driving.
Yeah, Ryan, if you put yourself in the shoes of Nilsson right now, I mean, he's basically looking for any kind of an opportunity he can at this point. Oh, there he looks again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're Anders, you'll probably be getting slightly frustrated at this point, because you know you're quicker than John Thiem in front of him, but you just can't get close enough to him in the slipstream, because, like you say, that Tyrrell in a straight line has got some grunt.
The other thing about the Tyrrell, and this is mentioned by Coxon in our pre-race notes, is that at Portugal, the Tyrrell is fitted with a revised underbody and longer side pods with bigger radiators. So whether that has an effect on the straight line speed, I don't know, but I'm sure an underbody revision the aim would be to increase downforce and grip. So that might have something to do with why he's able to stay ahead, in addition to the extra power the engine's generating.
Yeah, in any case, the thing about refrigeration is a catch-22, because if you are able to refrigerate the engine more, you're basically able to put more boost. And if you are able to put more boost, you are quicker, but you're using up more fuel.
True.
In the end, it's a bit of a frustrating thing. And I think, and I'd really like to highlight this for the audience, this really shows what kind of difficulties and challenges the engineers and the teams and drivers in the Formula One were facing at this time. I mean, when you were limited by the fuel consumption, also by the tires, but mostly for the fuel consumption, I mean, you got the ability to put a big turbo there. I mean, that's every engineer's dream. Oh, I can put a big turbo here. Look, I can crack up 1,300 horsepower in the qualifying and all that. But then come the race day, oh no, sorry, you need to make up for the distance. And then it's not just the turbo, it's the drag of the car, and it's so many small details. It's so frustrating to be able to really have cars that are so performing. Probably the most powerful cars that we have ever seen in Formula One. But then at the same time, come race day, you need to take care of the tires, you need to take care of the fuel. It's a really complicated game. It's no wonder that it's the peak motorsport series is acknowledged all over the world.
Yeah, the fuel definitely can be quite tough here due to the high downforce needed, according to Coxon. So the brakes, medium work rate, which surprises me because there's, the twisty bits are actually faster than you might think. So maybe that's medium makes sense. And as we talked about, expect mediums and hards for tires. So we'll keep an eye when the pit stops occur on what the markings are in the tires, and that'll give us an idea of if people think they chose wrong or if they're going to stay with what they started on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gabriele Del Piccolo just now scored the fastest lap of the race.
Oh boy, this
speaks volumes about his intentions.
Both of them are bottled up behind two-lapped cars right now. They're trying to get by, but they're not really. They're not at the most advantageous point to do so. Now, Hillis starts to go by Ray Radal. Del Piccolo. Oh goodness, Del Piccolo got stuck behind Ray Radal, so there's some time lost.
No, and that's precisely the situation I was talking about. I mean, if Del Piccolo just scored the quickest lap of the race when they were coming to lap traffic, that speaks volumes, because that tells you that Del Piccolo was basically looking for the opportunity to overtake Tim Hiller.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen.
Nope.
And now you see the gap between both of them is still very solid. Tim Hiller, and I should mention that we've been talking a lot about Del Piccolo, but Tim Hiller is resisting that pressure absolutely like a hero. Very good drive for Tim Hiller now.
Yeah, he is a cool customer. I'm trying to think back to points where I thought he drove in a fashion that was hot-headed or anything, and I can't think of one instance, to be honest. So they're coming up now to one of the Haas entries, which appears to be having ping issues, appearing and disappearing. So hopefully that won't cause them an issue when they're trying to. Oh yeah, there you can see it quite literally. But that's really frustrating when you have that happen in front of you. You're never sure where the car is. But they both got around with no problem because the car was pulled off to the side rather dramatically with the ping, but now they're back running nose to tail again.
And meanwhile, Richard Wilkes is 6 seconds nearly in the front. But, and I should say this, I'm watching his driving and he's absolutely hammering it. I mean, he probably is not cranking up the boost too much because he needs to keep the fuel consumption in check, but he's really pushing it in every corner. He has absolutely no second thoughts about the tires or whatever. He was waving in the previous turn all the time around, so he's really like, I mean, he wants to make the difference with his driving because he knows he really needs these points. At this point of the season, it's all about dropped scores. Del Piccolo has not scored many times, but those are his drop scores. I mean, the problem for Wilkes is that he has scored regularly in the season, but many of those precious points are going to be dropped at the end of the season. So, for example, many of the fourth or fifth or even third places for Richard Wilkes, they are going to count as much as non-finishes for Del Piccolo because they are drop scores. So Wilkes knows that, and he's really pushing it now because anything except a victory is good for him here. He wants to make a statement about his championship changes, and what better place to do than on your home track?
Yep. I don't think there's any question that Wilkes is a driven person this weekend, having it be his home track and having the carrot of possibly closing out the championship, even though it's the chance of that happening is pretty remote, given Del Piccolo's performances lately.
Yeah, and even, I mean, Del Piccolo being in third is the only thing that spoils Wilkes' dream scenery. Because him being on the lead and Tim Healy on second, what else could you wish for?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, more lap traffic in front of Hilly here. It looks like Del Piccolo's giving this battle a little bit of a breather for the moment.
Aha, Coxon is now signaling pits.
Interesting.
This is very interesting, yeah. I don't know if this is some kind of error, but it's quite early, even if you are going for 2 stops. But he's coming now on the main straight, and no.
No, it could be an error.
Yeah. He has basically rejected the pits for the crew.
Sometimes the crew says they're ready for a pit stop automatically in AMS, and it's not something that the driver has initiated, so that's something to keep in mind.
No, but that's something tell you very much about what the driver has scheduled in terms of pit stop. If you are low on, well, not low on fuel, but if you have scheduled a pit stop for these turns, for this amount of turns, of laps, then the pit crew might be calling you, but in fact you are not really ready to go into the pits. But that is speaking that you are actually stretching the pit stop that you intended to do. So it could be that Coxon is actually thinking of 2 pit stops, and it could very well be if he stops, for example, in lap 20 something, and again on lap 50 something. So we should be keeping an eye on him because he might be on a 2-stop strategy.
Very much.
Yeah, again, look, again, he's in the gravel now. He's in the gravel now. That's the yellow flag.
Oh,
in that
no!
sector. No, yeah. He's suffering with those tires. So, indeed, that seems to be the case. Coxon is struggling with those tires. And he probably is going to be in for a pit stop.
Well, he's back on the track now, so yeah, we can probably expect him into the pits in a few minutes here. As he's stuck behind one of the Ocellas now. Let's see if he makes the move for the pit lane as he exits the final turn here.
Good coordination there by Amaral.
And he is. He is going to the pits.
Yeah. And let's see what kind of tire choice he makes. Oops. Hards.
Hard tires.
Yeah. Hard tires all around. Even if that doesn't seem to be... Whoa, that was really quick. Really, really quick. I mean, I'm not sure if he was on mediums before. Maybe that's the case, and that's why he stopped. But that was really quick, blistering quick. I think probably in all the season that we have behind us, that was one of the quickest pit stops so far.
Well, that drops him all the way down to 15th place, a lap down, believe it or not.
Yeah, even if, of course, everybody still had some pit stop job to do.
Must have taken him longer to get out of that gravel than we thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fortunately for him, that pit stop more than compensated. We will see what happens with the drivers. Nilsson's did box behind John Tim. Very frustrating situation, as we have already mentioned.
Yep,
Ooh.
this is still going on.
Yeah, he's a lot closer this time around, coming round the long lip right-hander. He might get a run in the straight, but I don't think he's close enough again. So this is Anders must be getting really, really frustrated by this point.
I would if I were him.
And Hille is now, interestingly, getting closer to the leader, to Richard Wilkes. There is some traffic there, but I don't think that explains it all. I think that... Oh, Wilkes! Look at Wilkes. I mean, he's out of track.
Oh my goodness! And here comes
And
Hille.
Hille goes into the lead.
Hille goes into the lead.
Watch out for Del Piccolo.
Del Piccolo goes ahead, so Wilkes all the way down to third.
It's
What
an error
happened?
that Wilkes will pay dearly for.
So what
Yes.
happened? Oh my goodness! He, under acceleration, he hit the barrier. Unbelievable.
Damn it for Wilkes. Let's see if he has some damage, if he's able to keep up with the same rhythm. We will be watching the next laps to see what kind of lap times he makes. And Del Piccolo, look at Del Piccolo now. I mean, he's now smelling the blood in the water. Absolutely. He can see the lead of the race there. He knows if he can get by Tim Hille, he has the rhythm to be there and to go away and leave everybody in the dust. And look at that. He's getting antsy now, cranking up the boost. Will that suffice? Will that suffice?
He comes out on the inside, takes the lead. Del Piccolo goes in front of Tim Hille, leads the Portuguese Grand Prix.
What a driver now at this point. I mean, very patient all the time behind Hille. And exactly the race came the way he wished it. An error by Wilkes. He went by Wilkes. He went by Hille. Well, master move, absolutely, by Gabriele now. It's going to be really tough to beat this guy over the season.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised at the performance of Del Piccolo, but that's really, that was not how I expected it to go down, with an error from Wilkes. And it just looked like a real simple situation where he just, too much power coming out of a corner. Is that what you would say, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Wilkes was I think he was just pushing too hard as well, and just unfortunately made a mistake, and unfortunately he's paid the price for pushing too hard. But Del Piccolo, he was playing the waiting game, and when he saw that Wilkes had an issue and made a mistake, he took the opportunity and moved into the lead. And Tim Hille is not giving up by any means.
Yeah, Hill is still staying with him. So he's not ready to concede this race. And oh, look at that! My goodness, Del Piccolo must have made some kind of a mistake, because Tim Hille is right with him now, out of nowhere. Let's take a look at a replay there from Del Piccolo's point of view. What happened? Oh, he runs into the marbles. He missed the apex, so that's why Tim Hille suddenly was right with him again.
Yeah, this is a track that seems to be very tolling on errors. And for Del Piccolo, this is no easy feat now, because even if Wilkes is the championship leader, Hille is obviously the teammate to Wilkes, and Hille is going to be playing the part of the good teammate here. So it's not just that Hille wants, obviously, to score as many points and podiums and honors as possible, if he can, but he's really willing to play here the good teammate for his teammate. So if he can overtake Del Piccolo and basically slow him down until Wilkes is able to catch up, that's exactly the role that he's going to play out here.
Well, we're still kind of questioning, does Wilkes have any damage? I really have a hard time believing that car is not damaged in some way, because he did glance the barrier pretty hard.
Yeah, on the previous lap it was not very telling. On this lap he did 126, whereas before his laps were in 124. 2 seconds lower than his previous laps. That seems to be indicating. I mean, If you look at the laps he was doing, it was 124.9, 124.8, 124.8. And then with the incident, it was all of a sudden 133. Okay, that doesn't count. It was an incident. But afterwards, it's 127, 126. So it's constantly 2.5 seconds slower than what he was doing before. That doesn't look good at all.
But here, Hilla is right with Del Piccolo. Again, Del Piccolo trying to overtake a lapped car, gets balked. Hilla sees an opportunity, but can't capitalize on it on that corner.
We're on lap 26 of 17. None of the leaders has stopped, so I think it's safe to say that they are going for a single pit stop here.
Oh boy, look at this. Del Piccolo pulls out to pass the Minardi.
No, isn't that? Yes, Minardi, sorry.
Oh, no, no, no! Oh, shoot! Look out. That was close.
I had to hold my breath watching that.
Man. Tim Hilla came, like, I got my fingers real close together, this close to losing one corner of his car there. Which brings up another point about this Estoril circuit. It's not particularly wide around here.
Yeah, certainly not. There seems to be a single line going around. We've already mentioned that, but the only really proper overtaking point, that's the end of the main straight. So if your car is rigged for downforce, for being quick all around the lap, you might find yourself with a problem here, because you might be quick all around the lap, but how do you get by a car that is slower but has a little drag and is able to go very quick on the straight?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilkes is really losing ground now. 6 seconds behind, and his lap times...
There he is, yeah.
No, his lap times, I mean, they have improved a bit, but he's not yet in the lap times that he had before the crash. And I think that's very telling about he's adapting to a damaged car, but the car is no longer what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just for the record, Gabriele Del Piccolo ventured into 124.5 in this lap. For the first time, he actually was below 125. Tim Hille went with him, but Richard Wilkes is still in 125s, whereas before he was doing 124s.
Well, you could say that this is another clinic being put on by Del Piccolo, but actually, no, it's not. I mean, in all the other races, if I'm not mistaken, gentlemen, Del Piccolo just romped away from the field.
Yeah,
in some cases, even taking a pit stop and not losing the lead. In this case, he's being shadowed by Tim Hilla the whole way around. So whether Tim Hilla can actually overtake him is another matter, but it's certainly...
look at Del Piccolo waving here in the main straight. So that's very telling about him knowing that Hille is behind him just because he's not cranking up the boost.
Mm-hmm. Trying to break the slipstream there? Was that what he was doing?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm betting with the powerful Renault engine, if Hille cranks up the boost, he would be able to overtake Del Piccolo. And I think this is, again, the mind game set play. Hille is letting Del Piccolo know, well, look, I'm here. I could crank up the boost. Yeah, you can go left and right as much as you want in the straight, but I would be able to overtake you on the penultimate lap, which is, I think, every driver's nightmare.
As Ruben Fernandez makes way for both the first and second place cars.
So Hille is, I think, being a calculating driver here. But to be honest, the thing that would help his teammate most was if he was able to overtake Del Piccolo and slow him down so that Wilkes was able to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look at Wilkes. Okay, Wilkes is back into the 124s.
Really?
Really? I mean, his car was damaged, but I think that's driving prowess. He has absolutely adapted to it. He's not yet as quick as he was before, because his best lap was 124.3, but last time was 124.4, and so was the previous one. So that means he's really willing to catch up. So I think he's now caught between a rock and a hard place. He needs to catch up. He needs to crank up the boost, but he knows that he cannot do that too much, because otherwise he will be basically running out of fuel for the end of the race.
Yeah. Fuel consumption definitely a concern here, with the higher drag of the wings that's needed to be quick around here. So something to keep in mind is we have twin Haas Lola cars ahead of our leaders now. One of them with ping difficulty, which we mentioned earlier, which makes it hard to judge where the car is. So Del Piccolo is going to want to be very careful overtaking these cars, or at least one of them.
One of them was in the gravel, I think.
Yes, it was Bouchard.
Well, Tim Hill's getting a lot closer now.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. It's either Del Piccolo cranking up the boost.
Oh,
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
they split the two.
That BMW engine has legs. It was amazing. Well, Del Piccolo is signaling pit stop now, by the way.
Okay.
But my goodness, what he did in the straight.
As they're coming up to the unique yellow and white livery McLaren now of Bruno Chacon.
The Marlboro light car.
Yes. One and only appearance in F1, I believe.
Well, I don't know. I think it was more than one race. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I was under the impression it only showed up for one race. I could be wrong.
Yeah, whatever the case, it was certainly very unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And historical accuracy being something we strive for here. There you go.
I don't think that Marlboro ever went for that kind of livery in another season. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was the case. So let's look at Del Piccolo now. And there he goes in the pits. Interesting now that Tim Hill has the legs with the tires to go for more laps. Del Piccolo is second now. Let's see what Wilkes does.
And what tires?
No! No. Yes, Wilkes is stopping behind him. That's exactly what I wanted to know. Wilkes is stopping behind him, and I think that was absolutely the right call. Del Piccolo made a very quick stop. It's long for Wilkes, but I think it was the right call, because you are doing the same thing as the guy you want to beat.
Mm-hmm. So both Wilkes and Del Piccolo exit the pits. John Team elevates to second place with Hilla in the lead now.
Okay, this is telling us several things. First of all, Wilkes doesn't think that being out on track on whatever tires he was is quicker than what Del Piccolo was doing. And also, Wilkes thinks that his best chances are now, with whatever tires that he has, to fight it out with Del Piccolo on the track, because obviously this is the single pit stop that they both will be making.
Hilla continues for another lap. The gap between him and John Team is 11 seconds right now. Here's John Team. Actually, there's a yellow flag in that area. Not sure what that's about, but here's John trying to lap a Zach Speed in front of him, but not succeeding. It's Ruben Fernandez. I'm sure he'll get by in the next corner or two. There's Ruben making room, so no problem for John. We're basically at half distance now, 34 laps complete. Or actually 33, we're working lap number 34 at the moment.
So Del Piccolo is now fourth, but Anders Nilsson obviously is going for the pits now. He's signaling pit stop. John Tim isn't. Tim Hille isn't, which is quite amazing considering the amount of time he has been out on the track.
And the rate at which he was challenging Del Piccolo most of the way, so he clearly wasn't playing a fuel-saving game.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hille goes for another lap.
And there goes Nilsson for the pits.
Yep.
And he is on the A compound, which I believe is the hards.
Yes. Yeah, if you have a high downforce car, that's absolutely the compound that you should be using here, because you will be going really quick around these very fast corners. Okay, Padiola is in 6th, signaling pits now. Anders Nilsson just got out in front of him.
Pagiola, a driver that we haven't talked about much today, but having a good race in 6th place.
And interestingly, Tim Hille was 15 seconds ahead when when the second qualified driver emerged in front of him, and he's now 16, not 17 seconds in front. But the second qualified driver, that's John Tim, who wasn't actually fighting out with him for the lead. So we'll see when Hille pits what's going to happen with Del Piccolo. So far, Hille seems to be really confident, because there he goes on another lap, not yet pitting. Let me check his lap times. So, Hille's last lap was an amazing 1:23.6. It was not as quick as the previous lap, by 100th of a second, but still is very quick. Probably that accounts for the traffic that he found, same as he is having now. But it seems that he has certainly the legs with the tires that he's using now.
Here comes Pagiola into the pits.
So,
And
Del
he's going
Piccolo
with
now
B's.
scored the fastest lap. Hille is signaling pits. This is going to be a very deciding moment in this race. Both know very well what's going to happen. Hille needs to go into the pits. Del Piccolo knows it, and he's speeding up so that he could be eventually ahead. Let's look at Hille. Let's look at our leader. Yes, he's going to the pits now. Tim is second, but that doesn't count because he hasn't stopped. Del Piccolo is there in the turns before in that kind of chicanes that are before the main straight. Round the Leicester now for Del Piccolo.
There he is.
9.8765. There's Hille coming out of the pits, but it won't suffice. Del
No,
Piccolo
Del
is
Piccolo's
now in the
back
lead.
in front. Well, in front of Hille. The lead is to John Team at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, it's a virtual lead. Because Tim hasn't stopped yet, and it's obvious that he will need to stop at some point.
Well, we've got people in the YouTube chat that are suggesting that John Team might not be stopping.
That could be a coup. I mean, I'm all for it. Let's see if someone can make that stick. But if he doesn't stop, then certainly he's going to struggle, because the lead that he has is diminishing.
Mm-hmm.
He was 11 seconds in front. And that's now 10 seconds. Okay, it's not really stable. I think Del Piccolo is gaining on him. But it's certainly not a comfortable lead. We will see.
Yeah, I wonder under what conditions he would choose to drive the race without a stop at all. I mean, because he's had good pace throughout, and he was making that car very wide for Nilsson earlier in the race. So the question becomes, are his tires in a state where, you know, because he was driving within himself much of the way, is he going to be able to make it without a stop? Or is he going to just see if he can? What's he doing there? He's trying to find a way past Amaral. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on the gap from first to second, because if John is deciding not to stop, man, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Seems that the distance to the second qualifier is a bit steady now, around 10 seconds, which accounts for the pit stop that John Tim hasn't done, plus the distance that was between both cars before it. And wow, I mean, it's stretching in the main straight. And I think that seems to indicate that John Tim has a setup that is basically favoring the high speed.
He must, because that certainly was telling with the Ferrari battle from earlier with Nilsson. But yeah, the gap is steady at this point at 8 seconds.
Okay, just to keep things in picture. The last two laps from John Tim were 124.8, 124.8. In the case of Gabriele Del Piccolo, second qualified, that was 123.4, 124 dead. In the case of Tim Hille, who just scored the quickest lap of the race, it was 123.2. And he's now on the next lap because he was on the pits. So I don't think that this is looking too well for John Tim. It's 8 seconds now, the lead.
Even, yeah.
But in any case, I mean, if he is able to stretch it and be able to finish the race like this, for sure he's going to score very well with this car.
All right. Gap is now 7.6, so it's coming down very steadily.
Yeah, I think at some point the tires, even if they were going well, are basically going to let you down.
Yeah. So he's played his hand now, John Tim has. I mean, he's obviously, I think it's pretty clear what he's trying to do now. He's going to try to go the distance.
No, the real race is here between Del Piccolo and Hille, and look at that, because Hille is really, really close to Del Piccolo.
Yeah.
He's playing his cards now. He's eager for that victory that has been eluding him the whole season. I think that Hille, if anything, Hille really deserves a victory this season.
He does, yeah.
And he's being very cool in this race. He's playing it out with Del Piccolo. But, if anything, that's going to be a hard bone to chew.
Yeah, looking at the list, no updates for the Benetton or for the Lotus in this round. So it's the same material that we saw last round. So I wonder what accounts for Hille's ability to challenge Del Piccolo here. I mean, again, Del Piccolo is not running away from him. I wonder what the difference is here. Could just be that Hille is much more comfortable on this track.
Look, I mean, tires are only half of the picture. It's true that the tires tell what kind of pace you can hold while you are low on boost. because you're pushing the car, but nobody knows what's going to happen if you're saving the race, saving the fuel for the end of the race, and then you're going to crank up the boost. Because in these cars, if you're cranking up the boost towards the end of the race because you have enough fuel, that's going to be a big difference. And I don't believe that any tire difference is going to make up for that.
Well, he's still right with him. And there's lap traffic in front here too. So, but the lap traffic in this race has been doing a good job of getting out of the way. We've only seen a couple instances where things got a little hairy, but yeah, see right there. Very opportune situation. Oh, well, spoke too soon.
Yeah, and Tim's not really had luck with traffic so far. He's not being able to get by. Can he get by before turn one? Yeah, he can.
That was another BMW power plant he's overtaking there.
That was really good for Hille because had Remen been between them in this section of turns, that would have really killed him because the poor Arrows doesn't have anywhere near the downforce that these cars have. So that could have easily been 0.3 of a second after the section when Hille finally would be able to overtake. But look at that. I mean, there he is again.
Yep, right with him still. The gap to John Team is now 6.5 seconds. So it's closing down, but to John Team's credit, not very quickly. Obviously, quickly enough that Del Piccolo is going to be right with him before the end of the race. But give credit to John Team. He's not giving up.
Yeah, he's not falling it. He's not falling into the clutches of Del Piccolo as quickly as I thought he would. Does it looks
Hang
like
on.
Hill's got the run in the home straight?
Hang on, gentlemen. We'll see what happens here. Is Hill going to go for it? He's looking towards the outside. No, he's... Well, wait a minute. No, there just wasn't a chance there. Now he's looking on the inside.
Not on the outside there. He just wanted to show himself to let Del Piccolo know that he's there, put him under pressure. But I think that Hille, as I said, he has matured a lot and he's playing both roles here. The guy who wants to win the race and the guy who wants to be the good teammate here. He knows he needs to overtake Del Piccolo and make him slower so that Wilkes is able to catch up. He also wants to obviously win the race or score very well, but he's not risking it doing any stupid things because look, oh, Mike Olson there in the gravel. Because look, at this point, let's be honest, the best bet for Wilkes is Team Hille actually. If Hille is able to keep up with Del Piccolo and he is able to overtake him and slow him down so that Wilkes can catch up, that's going to be, well, a world of a difference for the championship. But if Hille crashes out in the hurry or doesn't overtake or if he
look at
botches
this.
it,
Look at this. Hill is going to make another attempt here as they go to the inside of the track. Defensive posture from Gabriel.
yeah, he cranks up the boost coming out of the corner. I think that Del Piccolo has very much calculated how much fuel he is using every lap, and he knows that he can crank up the boost in the straight because I don't believe for a second, even if the BMW is a good engine, I don't believe for a second that in the economy mode that he must be running the whole race, he's able to keep up in front of Team Hille cranking up the boost when they are on the main straight.
Yeah, you see he gets closer to him again here.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's just using that boost like a KERS system on the straight.
And that also, we must also say it, that's also a bit of the strategy that Hille is following. Because if he is able to push Del Piccolo and to make him spend more fuel in those defensive situations, that's also good for Wilkes. because
Mhm.
towards end of the race, I mean, we will be seeing all of this develop 20 laps from the end, or maybe even 15 laps from the end. And look at Wilkes. I mean, he's getting closer now. I can see that visually now. He's only 5 seconds behind now.
Oh yeah, there he is. Wherever Del Piccolo goes, there's Hilla.
Yep. That's the point, I think. Wilkes is sending the proverbial fruit basket to Hiller at the end of this race, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has been all that you could wish from a teammate.
Yep. The gap from Del Piccolo to team is still 5 seconds.
To team? No, to Wilkes.
No, to team.
Ah, to team. Oh, okay, sorry.
Del Piccolo to team. It's 5.5 seconds roughly.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about Tim Hiller.
Oh. Well, that's 0.366 seconds.
Yeah.
Close enough where you don't need a stopwatch.
Yep. Yeah, and look at Wilkes. He's really speeding up now. Only 3 point something seconds. He's getting close to Tim Hiller. That's interesting. Let me have a look at the lap times, because it would surprise me much if Gabriele had been keeping it steady. So, Gabriele's last laps, no, he has been actually going very quick. 124, 123.6, which indicates that he's feeling the pressure. In the case of Wilkes, it's 123 already from 4 laps ago. 123 dead in the last lap, so he's really speeding up.
Ruben Fernandez out of the race now as well, unfortunately, and Ray Radal earlier. We've been focusing so much of our attention on the front of the field here. We've not seen these DNFs that have happened, but this is certainly a race that tests man and machine.
Yeah, this is certainly a track that is very, very exhausting and very heavy on the tires and on the drivers and on the cars, because you have here a combination of very high speed corners, which means a lot of stress on the tires, but again a lot of time on the throttle, and that's a lot of stress on the engines. So John Tim now for, let's say 5 seconds in front.
Oh, and now they've got the added awkward situation of a Brabham there, but they both get by without much trouble. It's funny
Yeah,
there.
although that's not the case for Wilkes, who is going to find that car in this twisty section. And Wilkes was coming very quick from behind. I mean, if you take the high cam, visually Wilkes is already getting very close to Tim Hiller.
So could we potentially see this become a 4-car battle at the end of the race?
hell's got-
Oh, whoa! Dang! Hilla has
I think Del Piccolo might have missed a shift there.
might have, yeah, because Tim Hilla was suddenly all over him.
It's certainly not the comfortable situation for Del Piccolo now. He needs to save the fuel. Hiller doesn't seem to need to save that much fuel, and he's being very cool. He's being very cool behind him, and Wilkes is coming up on both of them. So for Del Piccolo, that seems to be just a temporary lead.
And I think if when Wilkes gets close to Hiller, I think there might be a bit of team orders and a bit of a change of position happening very soon.
Really? You think?
Yeah, I think so, because Wilkes in the position in the championship. I think if it might be worth just switching around. Yeah, you don't want to do it, but Wilkes has
I
got the
agree.
better
I
chance of-
agree with Ryan. It would surprise me very much if Hiller doesn't play the good teammate combination, because I mean, we all know Hiller. He's a very hard player, and if he sees that Wilkes is really that much quicker and can challenge Del Piccolo, he'll be happy to move aside.
Well, that would be.
After
That-
all, the guy that was driving this car was a lord, wasn't it?
Oh, Johnny Dumfries. That's right. The late
So there
Johnny
is
Dumfries.
some class act there to live up with.
Yeah, look at how close Wilkes is getting now.
Mhm.
And the gap now is 3.5 seconds between Del Piccolo and John Team, the leader. Maybe this is a good time to do the trivia question so that we can watch this battle unfold without interruption. Because it's going to get pretty serious in a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the trivia question was, who won the last Portuguese Grand Prix to be held at Estoril on September 22nd, 1996? Was it A, Damon Hill? Was it B, Jacques Villeneuve? Or was it C, David Coulthard? Time's up. What do you guys say?
I'm going to go for B, Jacques Villeneuve.
What about you, Alberto?
You just want to use the wrong button with me.
No.
So let's see. Villeneuve 95 was the IndyCar champion, if I don't remember wrong. So next year he was in Formula One. Okay. Let's go for Diamond Hill. Just wrong.
Wrong. Sorry.
Yeah!
Answer is Jacques Villeneuve. Which means Ryan's right.
Yeah, I won again.
I knew it. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to use the wrong button.
Right.
Oh, you're so kind.
I'm a gentleman, you know.
Well, we joined back at just the right time here because look at them. They're the second, third, and fourth place cars are all right together on the track.
Yeah, Wilkes is coming close. It seems that Hill's pressure on Del Piccolo is paying off. They
And
are
John-
coming to traffic now. So
Yeah,
I would
this is
say
gonna
that
be
everything is coming together.
Nutty and John Team is right
Oh!
there. So, whoa!
Oh, no, no, no.
Oh no! Oh no! Del
No
Piccolo!
way You want to think.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, no. Oh, my
Let's have a look at a
goodness.
replay. Oh my goodness. I suppose this was going to happen eventually. Oh, that was the situation of just Tim Hilla braking just a bit too late, or a bit later than Del Piccolo did, and then there's contact there after the fact.
Yeah, I think Del Piccolo braked just a tiny bit earlier than usual because of the traffic that was in front of him, and Hille just didn't account for that.
So John Team is now in front by 1.695 seconds, and Wilkes, after all of this, may have another opportunity to win.
Yeah, he's second now, third is Hille. Fourth is Del Piccolo, who is in the pits. So, damn it! It seems that there is damage in the car.
Yeah, why else would he be stopping with 19 laps to go?
Oh, no.
My goodness, or maybe he had a puncture.
I don't think he would be stopping otherwise. It must be a puncture, yes. I don't think he should be stopping for just some slight damage because he hasn't lost a wing. That doesn't seem to be suspension damage.
This is a long stop, though. He's down to 6th now.
Damn it. So, looking at his tires, that's soft in the fronts, medium in the rears. Very interesting in that regard.
Well, you know what this does, Alberto? With Del Piccolo out of the points and Wilkes in second place, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Come on. Really?
What?
is Wilkes champion already?
Hey, we were talking about it at the start of the show.
Yes, but was this one of the combos? Oh, yeah, I think so.
Of course, he has to get by John Team.
Who is, by the way, just half a second in front.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you know, I've mentioned this many times. There was a famous. Oh, look at Hille. He's trying to overtake his teammate. But anyway, remember that we had here a famous going by a bullfighter. I mean, the guy was like making one of those passes on the bull, and when the bull was completely away, the tail of the bull hit him in the eye, and he lost an eye because of that. And he said, even till the tip of the tail, a bull is a bull. So that's what we also can say here. I mean, even till the last lap, Formula One is Formula One. A race is a race. So it's not over until you are past the straight finish line and you can score the points.
Well, just to reiterate, and I'm reading verbatim from Juha Boss's notes for this race. Wilkes can win the championship if he wins and Gabriel doesn't score. That's what
Gabriel
it says.
is now 9th and doing repairs. 10th now.
Yeah, so there you go. So the chances of Gabriel scoring are basically gone. But what an improbable situation this would be after the incident that Wilkes had earlier took him out of the lead, and now here he is possibly looking at an opportunity to win at the very end of the race and clinching the championship.
Oops. Oh my goodness.
Whoa, that was goodness.
That was a traffic jam there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Richard Coxon's retired.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, he was part of that. He was part of that incident.
Yep.
Let's go back, see what happened here. Oh, I see. That arrow's driven by, I believe it's Remen. Yeah, it was rejoining the track, and oh man, Coxon had nowhere to go. That's very unfortunate. So that would explain why he's out of the race. Team continues to lead by just a little under 0.4 of a second. Wilkes is in second. Hille is third. Here comes Wilkes, making his bid.
Is now 11th,
Ooh.
19 seconds
Whoa!
behind Trevor.
John Team says, I don't care about the championship. I want this win. You're going to have to earn your way by. That's what he just said.
And
That's nice. That's a gentleman. A really fair sportsman player. And I think that Hille might be also the one.
Well, Hill is staying right with him. You guys were suggesting team orders are in place at Lotus, but by what we saw from Hill a little bit ago, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely suggest team strategy, not team orders, but team strategy. In the case of Hille being able to challenge for the win against El Piccolo, but I don't think even for a second that there are team orders between Hille and Wilkes here. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
So if Hille can win this race, he will do it, that's for sure.
And apparently John Team is trying to, I think he's trying to stretch it to lap 10 until he pits it. So I think even though he's kind of, not out of sequence with these guys and pretty much not in the battle for the win, I think he's just trying to stay up front as long as possible. And
yeah, he's evidently on hard tires and he's making them last as long as possible. The question is, will they fall a cliff before the end of the race, or will he be able to soldier on till the end? I mean, Coxon has told us that any compound can make it. But one thing is that, and a very different one is if they are worn out and out of the window where they operate properly.
Yeah, you can finish the race on them, but how competitive you are is another matter altogether.
Yeah, exactly. Although I should say that in this peculiar track, very narrow, as you pointed out rightfully, and with only the main straight, I think that the key for John Team here to not be overtaken is to get a good exit out of the last turn and be able to crank up the boost so that he can stay in the lead at the end of the main straight. Because look at this section. I mean, between the washout from the front and the tiny track, it doesn't seem as... I mean, we haven't seen really in this race that many overtakes happen in the twisty section.
No, not really.
Oh,
Look at Tim makes another stab and can't get it done.
No, but he's telling Wilkes, hey, look, I'm here and I want that win. That's a statement from your teammate, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, Wilkes needs to think of the championship here, same as was the case for Gabriele Del Piccolo, whereas Tim Hille has nothing to lose. So if it goes down to a daring braking maneuver in one turn, it's Wilkes, even if he has courage to spare. It's Wilkes who is probably going to give up. That's for sure.
These three right together. Well, we thought this would be an exciting race, and it certainly turned out to be. And with championship implications, possibly. We'll see. Nilsson in fourth. Juha is in fifth, so another quiet race where he rises up into the point standings. And Pagiola sixth. Great drive for him. Janik, we haven't talked about much. Oh, look at this. Wilkes.
No.
Well, he had the legs there, but he just didn't have the car placed properly.
It's a shame that the incident between Hille and Del Piccolo happened, because I would really have liked to see what kind of, well, strategy and tires and that had Gabriele had for this end of the race. It's a shame. I think it's clearly a racing incident, but... Whoa, look at Wilkes. I mean,
Yeah.
What a complicated situation for him. He has... Oh, Tim, look at that.
Oh, man. He runs off the track. Well, that gives Wilkes a little bit of a breather.
Wilkes is now sandwiched between two drivers that have nothing to lose and everything to win in this race. Whereas in the case of Wilkes, he's in the opposite situation. If he doesn't finish, that's going to hurt him. So he's even more careful than ever.
Look at Team coming off of that last turn. Here comes Wilkes. He's going to go for it. And he's got him. Wilkes is in the lead. Oh, but wait a minute. Hang on. Oh, no.
Oh! Oh, I thought there was going to be contact between Team and Hille.
Yeah, and Hill and... Oh, my goodness. This is not over yet. John Team. Now he's in a defensive mode, trying to keep from being overtaken by Hill and going down to third. But Wilkes is now in front and eyeing the championship.
Yeah, skillful move for Wilkes. And if anything, you can say that these guys are really skilled, because, my goodness, I mean, they made every centimeter of that car count. I mean, there was even slight contact there, so Wilkes made it through in the narrowest possible place. I mean, one less
there goes Hille.
Yeah, one less centimeter and Wilkes would not have been through.
Well, kudos to John Team for giving it everything he had, but in the end, just couldn't withstand the JPS onslaught. So with that, and Tim Hilla hasn't given up either.
No, the race isn't over. Like I said, it's until the end of the tail. It's a bull still. So. We're on lap 58. My goodness, still 12 laps to go. We don't know what kind of fuel consumption these guys had all over the race. Remember that Wilkes had to play catch-up game, whereas Hille was in the slipstream of Del Piccolo for the whole race. So don't rule Team Hille out.
Yep, Hilla's staying right there. We'll have to ask Wilkes after the race how bent that car is. Because I'm convinced it's damaged. It has to be. $11 laps to go now.
Del Piccolo is up to 9th now.
Yeah, but he can see the leaderboard just as easily as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a shame that happened.
Look at that. Fastest lap by Gabriele. So there was something up his sleeve now. Well, actually, I mean, after 1 point something, even 2 laps in the pits, obviously he has a bit more fuel to use now. But still, I mean, this is only showing the pace that he was able.
He's making a statement there, I think.
Yeah.
So John Team has dropped way back now, and you can see Nilsson there not far away. I wonder if Nilsson might have a shot at 3rd place at some point here.
So with 10 laps to go, Wilkes must now be using the calculator and thinking what he will be doing regarding Team Hiller. He probably knows that Hiller is in a better fuel situation than him. And it's just a matter of what happens towards the end. Because if I was Hiller and I had more boost to spare, I would certainly use it only in the 2-3 last laps where Wilkes is nearly defenseless. Because if you use it too early, then Wilkes might be able to crank up the boost and get it back. I mean, even if to defend and just enter that stupid game, chicken game, so to speak, of who is going to use the highest boost. Because once we run out of fuel, both of us, it's me in front still. So in the case of Hille, he needs to be really careful, because if he has that more fuel to use compared with Wilkes, he cannot show his cards too early.
Nine laps to go now.
And I should say the top 5, even the top 6 are in the main straight together. Yes,
yeah.
there's some distance, but they are quite grouped. I mean, any error of any of those drivers, and it could very well change very quickly.
There's that appearing, disappearing Haas Lola again.
Del Piccolo now hunting down David Saber. He wants to make it through. I don't know why David was able to came out in ninth position because Del Piccolo held it. Probably an error by Del Piccolo while pushing it. There he goes in this straight. Not that easy to pass a Renault, seems.
Mm-hmm.
What a frustrating situation for poor Gabriele.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he had his fourth win right there for the taking, and just a small miscommunication there. I feel for Tim, too, because that probably is weighing heavy on him. I mean, that was... I would call that a racing incident.
Oh, look at him, look at
Yeah,
him.
Tim.
He's going to amend himself.
And Tim Hilla goes into the lead.
Yeah, he was waiting for that.
Yeah, and Richard didn't seem to fight that too much, so I wonder if he's a little worried about fuel and making it to the end.
Maybe.
These drivers are very clever. I mean, he probably was reading what Wilkes was doing already from some laps ago and knew that there wasn't that much that Wilkes could do to crank up the boost and keep it.
Which brings us to the other point that Juha put together for us. Anything less than a win leaves the series undecided.
Oh no, Gile!
Oh, Hilla has run off! What happened?
He spun on his own and went to the gravel.
Oh, he went into he went into the marbles and right into the gravel.
Damn it. He's fifth now.
Unbelievable.
And that's it. That's allowed John Team up into second and Anders Nielsen into third. And Juha Boss amazingly with his quiet drive into
He's
fourth.
fourth now. Well, there you go. You just pointed out that all it would take was one small miscue, and there you go. So Wilkes back in the lead again.
Well, as much as Wilkes is my friend and I absolutely appreciate his driving, I should say that if he clinches up the championship today, it will not be 99% his own merit.
No, it's because of a lot of what's gone on around him.
Yeah. I mean, it will be, of course, a part of his merit, but also a big part of luck.
So 7 laps to go, including the one that Wilkes is on now.
Ooh, and man, the second position is still hot. There's John Tim, Anders Nilsson, and Juha Boss quietly coming out. Ooh,
Yep. Yep, this isn't over. Look at John Team. He's pushing it.
3 red and white cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, after the win, this is the most coveted position. The last one of the podium.
Nilsson,
And it's,
right.
I think, very characteristic from Nilsson to be there. I mean, soldiering on, very opportunistic there at the end of the race, able to fish a podium.
Oh, goodness.
There comes the Ferrari.
Here comes Nilsson up the inside, takes second place. Now can Juha capitalize?
Okay, so team still in the honors position in the podium. But, oh my goodness, what a threat from Juha Boss. And I really feel sorry for Jom in this race, because he did a big effort there on the same tires the whole race. And he's now really struggling to keep it. 6 laps to go. And he's eyeing there a honor, a podium position. But he has that white and red McLaren behind him.
Oh boy.
And Wilkes, I should say, in the lead.
Oh, there he goes.
But only 7 point something seconds in the lead. I mean, it's not as if he really is safe from any errors that he could make or whatever.
So Juha up to third place now. And Tim Hilla there in 5th place might actually be able to get back into 4th here.
So it seems. Maybe even 3rd. Because let's be honest, Juha is not really. Oh, whoa! What's that car there? That's David Saber.
David Saber, the other Tyrrell.
Yep. So Juha boss is not that far away. Oh,
There goes Hilla.
there goes Hille.
So now I'm
This
starting
is
to wonder
danger
if
now for Juha boss.
now
Danger now.
I'm starting to wonder if team has got a problem or if he's watching fuel numbers.
His tires are absolutely shot.
Tires are done. Yeah, that's what it is because he didn't stop.
I'm pretty
obviously.
sure of that. Wilk 7 seconds in the front, but his lead doesn't stretch anymore. Nilsson, meanwhile, is upping his pace, both because he wants to pressure Juha and because he wants to distance himself from Hille and Boss.
Yeah, and Juha is under pressure from Tim now, so it looks like it's just a matter of time before third position changes.
There goes Hille.
Ooh.
Okay. Not that you have put that much of a fight there. Probably also tight on fuel at this point. But I mean, let's wait and see what happens because we have seen, remember what happened to Jakes at Paul Ricard? When he was basically crawling to the end because he ran out of fuel and he lost a second, I think it was second place there to Wilkes or a third place. So let's see what happens. Because in these races you can never rule anything out. And Hille is getting very close to Anders Nilsson now. Nilsson seems to be getting away quickly. But no, sorry, you cannot hold that push button up.
Excuse me, I'm wondering if Anders is tight on fuel.
Possibly, because he's not streaking away from these two. Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness, look at that. Anders overtaken by Hille. What's going on here?
There goes Hille. Is he third now? He scored.
He is now second.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sorry. Hille is second. Ha! But Nilsson's position in the podium is not safe by any means.
No, there goes Boss by, yeah. No, wait, hang on. Nilsson stays right there on the inside. Boss counterattacks. Oh my goodness. Nilsson not gonna let this happen easily. Boss, I think, is him now. No, he doesn't.
Waiting for the main straight and see what everybody can do with the boost knob. Let's see what the magic button does for them. Coming out now, Nilsson waving out in this one, wants to have a clean exit. There goes Juha Boss, slipstream. Oh, there he goes. McLaren boost for you. Sorry, Ferrari guys, that Porsche engine got the best part of this.
Yep, it did.
My goodness, it was as if Nilsson had engaged rear gear. And Hille is catching up with Wilkes. Look at that.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of time left.
It isn't, but
2 laps to go.
but the distance is diminishing quickly. Very quickly. Look at that.
Wow.
Ay, 2.4 seconds. And Hille is going so much quicker. 1.20.5. And Wilkes is 123. He was 3 seconds slower in the previous lap. Oh, it seems that Wilkes is running out of fuel here.
That's certainly what it appears to be. As here they come onto the main straight to start the final lap of the Portuguese Grand Prix.
4-second lead for Wilkes. 310 kilometers per hour, 11 before he quits. Same for Gile.
So it's all going to come down to who has the most in the tank now.
Absolutely. So Del Piccolo is 9th.
David Saber out of the race now in 11th place. Well, this has been an incredible series so far, with Del Piccolo asserting himself late, but it appears that the honor of champion will go to Richard Wilkes. Steady drives throughout the year, some of them very masterful recovery drives. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also that bit of luck from the champions.
So here comes Richard Wilkes off the final corner in his home Grand Prix. Comes down to the line and wins the Portuguese Grand Prix, his home race, and if all mathematics are correct, the championship as well. Congratulations to Richard Wilkes. Fantastic drive. Second place goes to Tim Hillett. Third to Juha Boss. Fourth, Anders Nilsson. Fifth, John Team. Sixth. Oh, that's interesting. Brian Janik is coming across in fifth now. Wonder why that happened all of a sudden.
Well, John Team basically ran out of fuel.
Oh, he ran out of fuel. I believe he
tires.
No, he ran out of fuel. You can see him there in the background. So
yeah, 0 RPM. So that engine is dead.
So John Team is essentially coasting to a classified. Oh no! Here comes Paggiola. Paggiola is going to overtake him for sixth.
Poor John. What a great race he did, but
Paggiola takes the last. Paggiola takes the last points paying position. Oh my
goodness, and you cannot come out of the car and push it. We should put a knob for that in the game.
That's too bad.
Yeah. That's very unfair, but kudos to John Tim from here because of his drive. And kudos also to Gabriele Del Piccolo. It was absolutely not his fault. But that's Formula One for you. I mean, in real life and also in virtual one.
So here's Juha now. Juha, according to your notes before the race, that is the championship, correct?
That should be the championship, yes.
Yes.
Gabriele didn't score, so Wilkes' points lead is unassailable by me or him. So, well done.
Yep, and well done to you too. Excellent. Another one of these races where it's very quiet for you from the start, but you finished very well. Congratulations.
Thank you. You just missed 2 seconds, I think, in the end. No. Too bad. I was surprised to get third anyway. I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, poor John Team ran out of fuel at the very end and lost his points-paying positions, unfortunately. And here we have, joining us in the booth now, the winner of the Portuguese Grand Prix, his home race, and the champion of this series, Richard Wilkes. Richard, congratulations on winning your home race and wrapping up the title. A great series for you. But as we were talking in the booth earlier, not all of the credit can go to you in this particular race. There was a lot of stuff that was happening around you. Take us through this incredible race.
Well, thank you. But first of all, are you sure that I'm already the champion?
I am sure. I just did the maths. You have 62 points against 43 for Gabriele, and there's only 18 left to win.
But did you drop my
Yes.
other scores?
Yes. I did. You only dropped 1 point from Belgium.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think I dropped 2 fourth places. But well, first the race. Well, it was not easy because I drove almost the whole race with the steering 45 degrees to the right.
Yep. See, there you
Oh.
go. I knew it.
So, it was my mistake. I was very close to some back markers. I had a lot of moments with back markers. And it was on the worst possible place when you come out of that very tight left-hander before the back straight. And I pinched my trajectory too much. Suddenly the boost came up and the car did a huge tank slap. I went straight to the wall. I was very lucky to not blow a tire, lose wings, anything. And after that, I was shaken for a bit. But then I reminded myself of what Prost did at Spa, where he drove the whole race with the steering bent. And I was like, okay, let me see if the car is okay besides that. And it was more or less. I lost some top speed, which made me have to use the next level of boost the rest of the race, so I used more fuel than I wanted. But I couldn't believe what happened next. Because I started to catch up people, and then suddenly Del Piccolo spins in front of me and Tim, and I overtake the both of them. And suddenly I was like, okay. And then I looked and I was second. I was like, okay, who's in the lead? John Tim is in the lead. How? And we didn't stop. He didn't stop. And then it was a battle to overtake him, as you probably watched. And I had to take some risks with the car all bent. I went all the way up to in the front anti-roll bar. There was no more anti-roll bar to go. I had to take some risks. And then when I passed him, Tim dispensed with him immediately. And I was like, okay, Del Piccolo is off the points. I'm running here on a good points paying position. If Tim, I knew he was in better shape than me. He stopped later for tires. His car was straight. So I was like, okay, if he wants to have a go, I won't be fighting him. I have no chance even if I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then he passed me, and I just, okay, I followed him a bit, and then he made a mistake in front of me. And then suddenly I was a bit isolated in the lead. And I was like, okay, let me see if I have enough fuel to the end or anything like that. But nobody made it easy. I mean, Anders was coming with more fuel than Saudi Arabia from behind. Fuel. I mean, Tim had a lot of it. This guy Juha here also had a lot of it. I had to sweat all the way to the flag, basically.
That's probably the quote of the series right there. It's funny. You should go on the road with that act, Richard.
Well, no, I can. I mean, I don't know if I'm champion. I just want to say that, of course, the car helped immensely. Obviously, having a Lotus was a big privilege. My teammate did a hell of a race today. He ran me very hard. I gave him my stuff, so he had my stuff, but he ran me very hard. And I just want to say it was a lot of fun, the season still, and I hope the rest still is. I hope it was a lot of fun for everybody to take part and to watch, and I hope the last 2 races are as fun as the rest.
Well, thank you for your post-race comments, Richard, and you're absolutely certain, Juha, that this is.
I am absolutely sure. The results are already on the forum.
All right, excellent. Well, in that case, we congratulate you on both the win and the championship. Final thoughts, gentlemen, before we close out this broadcast.
I'm really feeling sorry, so to speak, for Tim today, because he will carry on the weight of having somehow decided the championship, and I know he's a fair driver, and that was absolutely not his intent. I believe it was plainly a race incident, but
No, I can guarantee that, well, at least, I don't know if he touched Del Piccolo, but if you're talking about his mistake in front of me.
I mean, I believe that Gabriele braked earlier than usual because he was in front of back markers. Not in front really, but he was trying like to make the room for them later for later corners and that. But I mean, I feel sorry for Tim because of the responsibility he's bearing, but I would say that he shouldn't be worried at all. I think it was a fair racing accident. And I'm sorry for Gabriele because he did an amazing drive towards the end of the championship. I'm really happy for you, Wilkes, because you did great in this championship. I think you were steady. You did what you had to do to clinch the championship, and amend what the poor Senna wasn't able to do. But I think, man, I'm looking forward to next year for Gabriele because that was an amazing drive, and I just hope Tim also can get his win somewhere before the end of the season because he was already deserving it. And I'd say my conclusion of this all, you who had done the maths, is that any of you would have been worthy champions. That's for sure.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's been a great season, and it was a great race tonight as well. Plenty of action going on, and I have to agree with Alberto. I felt sorry for Tim because he was right up there challenging for the win until issues in the closing stages struck. But still, it was a great race, and I think if we were putting in for a driver of the race tonight, I would have to say you has pretty much said driver of the race for me. He had a quiet race, but he was up there and got onto the podium towards the end of the race, and just he kind of sneaked up there. But it was a well-deserved result.
Thank you.
Oh, well done, Matt. Yeah, I think, just to say something, I think El Pico is going to trounce us all at Mexico. So I think his success will come soon enough, believe me.
All right. Well, I want to thank my broadcast partners, Alberto and Ryan, for their excellent commentary throughout, and congratulations once again to you, Richard. So for all of us here at ISO, this is Jason White saying so long. We'll see you on the next broadcast, which is the California 500 next week. Everybody take care and be safe.